Hi, super friends. Welcome to the rabbit hole that we call Supernormal,
where we delve into all the parapop culture topics that you love.
So throw on that aluminum foil hat, get the popcorn ready, and make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification to let you know when new episodes of Supernormal drop.
Sit back, listen with an open mind.
Enjoy the show. Boom.
Boom goes the
I'm
microphone.
I think we should we tell nail check?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh,
This is the nail
such
check.
pretty nails.
It's a nail check. What is that? This is Showgirls.
I'm Dina.
I'm Matt.
I'm Megan Alisa.
Or Cher. That was the best. You don't understand. When you come in and we film in our studio, we get little pictures and thumbnails, and that just captured the essence, the beauty of Cher.
Sure.
It looks like a mugshot.
I don't know what I was
The psychic police got arrested.
We'll send it. We'll post it on.
Yeah, we'll post it.
Well, that's
Hi,
special.
Hi, everybody.
You're gonna post that? No, you're not.
We're gonna put it in the podcast. We're gonna insert it.
Yeah, but not the photo.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we
Yeah,
go.
the
and
photo
we'll
is
just
gonna.
put it right in.
Okay. I'm gonna be screen capturing some photos of you guys
Hold on.
coming up soon.
Oh.
What more do you
That is-
need?
Not for this podcast.
I was singing. I'm a world famous. Not only am I a medium, but I'm also a world famous lip sync artist.
Yeah.
What's your go-to?
What's my go-to? Wake me up before you go.
Mm-hmm.
Jitterbug.
So I know that you won't do karaoke. You're not a
No.
karaoke.
Why not? Oh, can we do that?
It's my biggest fear.
Let's do it.
That's your biggest fear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're doing it.
Biggest fear.
We're doing
Sharks come like a close second, but like singing karaoke. Mm-mm.
Be careful in the ocean now because there are a lot more shark attacks
You're
happening.
gonna get me.
So,
Wouldn't it be bad if I was like Afterlife? It was me singing karaoke in the ocean. No thanks.
in the ocean.
I mean,
Sharks.
that underwater, like SpongeBob, like he's like SpongeBob underwater singing
Mhm.
karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would be what's your go-to karaoke song?
You're karaoke. You like karaoke?
Mine?
That's how you say it. That's the correct way you say it. You say karaoke.
I love my karaoke. You want to sing a song?
Karaoke.
How special?
I like Madonna. I can sing any Madonna song because I grew up on Madonna, and that she's always the queen. I don't give a fuck what you say.
Oh my
She's
god.
the queen.
Alright.
If I could
and,
melt your heart.
Yeah, like pretty much like any No Doubt song. I was into that when I was a junior high, so
Mhm.
there's that. I don't know. I have a lot of songs that I'll sing for karaoke. Honestly,
Yeah, I like No Doubt. I like the part where she's like, "You and me."
I guess, yeah.
Can you do a line? Can you do a line for us?
I can't right now because
Because
I'm recovering.
She's in recovery.
She's got recovery.
Yes, I'm recovering.
Our poor Megan was sick,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
So
I'm
she's
st- I mean,
recovering.
I'm still technically, but I'm recovering and I'm getting better.
yeah, you sound much better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I have a question for you. So I've seen it all over the interwebs that everyone's talking about Ouija boards. And I was like,
Ooh.
I want to talk to my friends about this because it sounds like really fun. And so what do you guys know about Ouija boards?
A lot.
I know stuff. I know things.
I know a lot.
Show
I
us.
would
This is
hope.
my,
I would hope so.
You know how many people get tattoos that they don't know, like they have like Asian sayings that that don't mean what they think it means. Like people tattoo themselves with stuff all the time that doesn't mean what they think it means, or they don't have any knowledge of it. So just because girl has a planchette tattoo, like I trust Megan, but let's just be honest. Just because you got a tattoo of something does not make you an expert.
No. Of course it doesn't. But
No.
But I am.
You're walking
That's what I am.
A tattoo shop. You're like, can I get that word? It says thoughts. And you like don't realize that it's
you know what I
THOTS.
did? Do you remember what I did like a couple years ago? Is that I got my nails done and I did like a Ouija theme and I told them the wrong spelling because I for some reason when I was at the inspiration photo, it looked like a Q. And instead of me going, that doesn't make sense because I know how Ouija is actually spelled with an O, I just went, yeah, that's a Q. And so it said Ouija across my nails.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that poor nail tech, man.
I was humbled, because I think that sometimes that's necessary, right? To just humble yourself in some way by my expertise of something I can't even fucking spell it right. So yeah, that's where we're
Can
at.
you imagine the nail tech? She pulls out her own Ouija board with Megan's hand there, and she's like, "Should I spell it right?" And she's taking the planchette and she's spelling it around. She's like,
"Yeah,
no."
Humbling.
I think I remember seeing her face, like, kind of be like, "Huh, huh," and then she just was like, "Okay," and then she just did it anyway. Cute, Ouija. Yes, that seems right.
It's French for Ouija.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
It was the off-brand of Ouija board.
It was Ouija. This is what happens when you do it too much. You get Ouija board.
It's the Wish version of Ouija.
Yeah.
Ouija. Some people say Ouija board.
Ouija.
And some people say Ouija. And some people say Ouija.
Or some people would just call it a spirit board.
Yeah, so that was the original name.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was, made into a game for children, which is insane. It was just a talking board, a spirit board, a communication board.
Mm-hmm.
The first marketing thing that they ever called it was Ouija, the wonderful talking board.
Ooh.
In 1891.
Yes. And why is it called that, Dana?
Let me Google.
Because he talks. Because
where did the name come from?
Oh, that's not what you. I thought you were like, why? Why does it talk? And I was like,
we could talk about that
that's
later.
Kind of the point, is like it communicates, right? And I'm like,
oh no. So why is it called Ouija instead of something else?
Why? I mean, it was going to be Ouija, but they hadn't put the Q on the board yet. So back to your point of spirit boards have been around forever. Like there's nothing new about spirit boards. There's been different boards, different ways that the world has communicated. Like even back, like let's go back. Ouija, 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 like back into like China, 551 BC.
Sure.
I read
a random number.
No, I didn't. I did research for this episode, motherfuckers.
You went back too far. I got nauseous.
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to make you Ouija. So back in 551 BC, come back with me. Ancient China. First instance of a spirit board, right? People have been doing this for a long time. Ouija, Milton Bradley, was not the first one to come up with any of this. No. This has been happening for a long time. But back in the early, or in 1890s-ish, they were like, what shall I name you? What would you like to be called? And it went and spelled out Ouija. Ouija? However you want to pronounce it. O-U-I-J-A for those of you who need to spell it on your nails. That's how you spell it.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
And so they were like, well, what does that mean? What does that name mean? And they said it meant good luck.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So
Nice.
they're on, and moving forward, it was known as Ouija board.
So, did you guys grow up with a Ouija board in your house?
No.
Yeah.
You did.
Well, yeah, in my grandma's house. So I grew up at my grandma's house until I was 5, and then I saw her every weekend until this terrible thing happened in my family where I wasn't allowed to see her for many years. But that is besides the point. But
Neither here nor
yes,
there.
they did do things like that, and she's actually the one that taught me how to use a pendulum.
Oh.
And so she would do the Ouija board with like my aunt. But I didn't like grow up really seeing it necessarily. I just like knew it was there. And then I grew up well, I was like an adult technically when I started actually using the Ouija board with my aunt. But so it's been around, like, but not in like my household, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Dina, did you have one in your household?
No.
Yeah,
No.
neither did I.
No.
Neither did I.
The first time I ever did it was with you in Sedona.
I broke your O.U.I.J.A.
You popped my
Cherry?
Ouija cherry.
I love that. Was it good for you?
It was fun.
No.
It was good. We played some high vibe music. And do you remember?
The board didn't finish.
Was the board lubed up properly? Like, did it glide well? Because it has to glide well, or it does. The friction causes it so it doesn't move.
It was a new board. It was a new board.
Yeah, this is not good. These are really good. They glide really well. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, Matt.
Okay, Kitty, you can't move it. We got a light energy. We got a spirit. P-U-S-S. Kitty! I can hear it. It's doing something for me. Oh, the cat. Yay!
He's moving the board.
We had help from the cat when we tried to do it.
Yeah.
But here's the deal.
We got some good stuff.
We did it for real. We did it for real, and we did get some stuff. I didn't grow up with one, but I can remember I'm going way back. The neighbor kid had one, but the neighbor kid was like the kid that you don't play with, right? But I was a latchkey kid, and my parents like didn't care. Like when the thing came on, it says like it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? My parents are like, I have kids. Right. So we snuck over to the neighborhood kid's house, and I remember the first time I ever played with a Ouija board. I remember going home like I did something like really dirty and wrong. Like, you know that feeling you got? Like you see something, you're like, oh my God, I need to wash myself. I thought I was gonna be possessed. So all night long I was like, the demon's gonna come get me. Like I was just waiting. It never happened. Never happened. But I remember being terrified of it as a little kid.
I was like your version of Playboy.
I know. I would have rather taken the Playboy than the Ouija board because I was like, my eternal soul. Yeah.
Oh, I was convinced that they were horrible. Like horrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like a couple of years before I actually did it that I was like, oh, it'll be fine. But even in my early development, I had a lot of fear-based stuff in my early development that it was like, you have to sage it and you have to do all of this like cleansing and clearing and like all of this stuff and like they're trapped.
Make sure it's on goodbye or otherwise. Wait, hold on. You don't do that.
Goodbye. But honestly, like there was all of this fear around it. Even though I had been like started to develop my discernment and all of that, like there was still all of this fear that was like poured into piece of cardboard, right? And so even then, like I was a little freaked out about it. But there was like my whole life, like there's, we always think of what's the movie? The Exorcist. I think The Exorcist ruined everything for the poor Ouija board.
I was just Googling. You know what I was Googling? I Googled what was the name of the spirit that came out of the Ouija board in The Exorcist. It was Mr. Howdy.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can
There's all different. I mean, like people talk about Zozo or like the Hat Man or like, some sort of evil sort of spirit, sort of whatever, when they come from a fear-based perspective around it. And obviously, if you're going to use a Ouija board, you need to be educated about it. And you need to know that you can cause your own psychological trauma if you don't really have an understanding of it. And you do come from a fear-based perspective. And then everything that does potentially happen ends up getting filtered through that fear, you could really mess yourself up for a time, or make it so like
Yeah.
you're terrified of Ouija boards and want to like burn every single one, or, blame everything that happens on them. And so it is important to be educated if you are going to use one. And the other thing is you never have to use one. If that's something you don't want to use, you're not comfortable with, or you do think they're evil, don't use one. And that's okay.
Well, now I know that I know that truth is my own truth,
Yeah.
right? Based on my experience. You know who I absolutely love? I love the dad where the little girls are like having a slumber party, and he goes up and they're playing the Ouija board upstairs, and he goes up to the
Yeah.
electrical panel and shuts the lights off.
And they scream. They're all screaming.
Insert clip here.
Have some trauma there for them, but it's still funny, I guess.
I was dying. I saw that and I was like, that's a cool dad.
That is a cool dad.
I thought it was funny. I was like,
No, it is
trauma.
funny. It is funny, but like, that kind of thing can traumatize people.
Oh, for sure.
Especially if they're coming from a place where like they've been told, don't be using that, it's evil, and you have a religious perspective around it in that way. But let's talk about like the fact that it literally can be a piece of literal cardboard. I could take a piece of paper right now, or I could take a piece of cardboard and I could draw the alphabet across it in a Sharpie and use a shot glass that's flipped over as a planchette, which moves or has potential of moving, which we can talk about as well and how that all works. But or it could be a piece of wood, it could be whatever, right? But it's not because it's this, you're buying a game board and now that's like a game board is evil and it's going to cause all these things. It's because of the intention we bring to communicate with spirit, and having the right intention for that, allowing an energy to build between you and the other people you're working with, and allowing a spirit to come forward to potentially be able to utilize that energy and move the planchette to spell out intelligent communication with you. I've had really good experiences with Ouija boards that were accurate, and I've had times where really nothing's happened at all, and I've had times where that did seem a little sort of scary or a little bit startling, and also had physical phenomena in the room happening during said Ouija board sessions. So do know that it is technically falling within the category of physical mediumship as well. So it's more complicated than I think most people realize when they're using a Ouija board, like what's actually happening.
So I have a question for both of you. What is your like most amazing experience you've had with a Ouija board?
Yeah.
Like, I know you kind of touched on it. Are you okay to go in a little bit deeper?
Yeah. So when I was referring to doing something with my aunt, so I was pregnant with my daughter, and we went to go visit them in New York, and we sat up one night. So their whole family grew up in a very open, so like my aunt, my uncle, and their kids, they taught them to be very open to spirit, which is really cool. And their kids were using Ouija boards and stuff as like teenagers. But so we were doing like a session that night, and we had actually a scary movie that was paused on the TV at the time when we were getting communication. And during the time of communication, I don't remember exactly who was coming through. I think that maybe my uncle's mom was coming through at one point, and the lights started literally flickering, not like just a random whatever, but like they would literally flicker and stop, like not a normal thing to be happening. While we were doing the communication, that happened. And then also at one point, the movie that was paused unpaused, and I was like, okay. And I got up and paused it again. Okay, so no, there's only one remote. There's no way to unpause the movie without that. It's not, again, not a normal thing to just unpause on its own. That didn't happen on their TV. And just like a couple minutes later, it unpaused again. And so there was like physical phenomena happening in the room while we were communicating. And it was interesting. It was definitely an interesting time. And I've had other times where like my dad came through, where he told me, like I asked him like who was going to win the presidential election, and this was from a few years ago, and he said the right answer like before it happened, obviously. And I mean, obviously that's like a 50-50 chance, I suppose, but there was other things that came through that were like evidential. We talk about trying to test the spirits, right? So one of the things that people talk about is like testing the spirits. And you do that through the answers they bring through. So are they intelligent? Are they things that you maybe don't even know about yet that you can get validated? or, things like that. We could talk about like ways to do that where it's a little bit more safe to do instead of you just knowing all the answers and not knowing, like if you have people on the board. I know I went past my story, but hold on. If
You're
you have
driving the
people on
bus
the
somewhere,
board,
and I love it.
yeah. So, but if you have people on the board that all know the answers to something, there's always a potential that their minds could get involved to, be moving the planchette, even if it's not on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So having someone off the board that can ask questions that the people on the board that they don't know the answers to, that helps to kind of validate information that does come through. That can be really helpful. And obviously, if you're going to use a Ouija board, only use it with people that are really, really honest and have integrity and really want true communication and aren't going to try to lead the board or try to make stuff up or coming in with like a negative, fearful energy with it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Dana, do you have a beautiful memory with a Ouija board?
I'm telling you, like pretty much I've had two experiences with it. With you in Sedona, and then the three of us in Megan's family room, I think.
Yeah.
And we didn't get anything in Megan's family room that day. I haven't had like any profound, like we had a little bit of communication in Sedona, but it wasn't like this, oh my God, this is amazing. But we definitely felt like a shift in the energy. We got some intelligent answers on the board, and that was cool. But I haven't really messed with them beyond that. Like I'm not scared of them. It's interesting to have the conversation about Ouija boards in that, do I really feel like they're necessary? Because at the end of the day, they're lots of fun. They're fun like to hang out with your friends and like do these things with, especially I think Megan gave some really, really good tips there. If you're with the right company and you're doing it and with some great vibes and all of that, like do it. It's fun. But I'm a walking Ouija board. So it's almost like cumbersome to be like,
it is. No, it 100%
like
is.
I can get it answers so much quicker myself.
Right. Exactly.
Through my development. So it's almost cumbersome. But it's fun. It's fun to experiment and play with the spirit world a little bit. How about you, Matt?
Well, I do like to call the Ouija board like the pager of the spirit world, like beat me and spell out words. But I agree with you. My fondest memory with a Ouija board would probably be like back in Hawaii when I lived there, and we ended up using the board, and I got validatable evidence from my grandfather, and that was way before I was a medium. And I think that was like probably a really awesome thing. And they gave me the initials of my partner.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So before you met him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, it's funny because so like I've used, and we're not talking about this episode necessarily, but like I've used other tools like spirit boxes where I'm getting information. Like the spirit literally is like, let me just give it to you because it's so much easier and it comes through so much faster. And that's the thing about being a medium is like it's instant, right? It can be just this instant thing versus having to wait for the energy to build in a certain way that they could potentially use to try to spell information and all that kind of thing. But it is interesting. And there is this person I follow on TikTok who was talking about this government communication that happened between them and supposedly people in another world, but coming through a Ouija board. Oh. And they were giving information about like vehicles, essentially like vehicles that are spacecraft and other things, like really interesting things. So like, just the normal people having sleepovers aren't the only ones that are utilizing things like Ouija boards for communication that aren't mediums. And there can be potentially really cool information that comes through that is able to be validated or able to be useful for like gaining new insights here. So I'm not like, I know there's a lot of people that will like poo-poo a Ouija board that are mediums, and that's fine. They can have that opinion of them. But I also say, I think it's good to be open-minded because I think that as mediums, we're not as limited to communication as like other people that, don't necessarily have the awareness of spirit in the way that we do. And I think that if they're educated properly around a Ouija board and they know how to use it in a safe way where like they're not going to be harmed psychologically through their own belief systems and things like that, or they're not looking to try to connect with negative things, which we can also again talk about. I think that it can be positive to help them with closure or help them with information or help them to at least start questioning like, okay, well, if this is real, then what else is real? Like, you know what I mean? Questioning and opening their mind up to things.
That's cool.
Well, you
Yeah.
open the door. You open the
Yeah.
door on the negative things.
Yeah. Let's talk about the negatives.
Let's talk about the negative things. Because you actually said, Megan, you actually said that, you had a scary experience.
Well, it was startling to me. And so that one I was talking about with all the physical phenomena, that was before I was in development as a medium, right? So those things happening were not normal to me at the time. And that was a little spooky, right? I was kind of like, okay, because I didn't know that physical phenomena could happen in a Ouija board session. Like I didn't know that that was like a thing that could potentially happen. So that freaked me out a little bit, but not enough to like ever, not experiment with the spirit world with a Ouija board or like through mediumship or whatever. It's just that, if you basically let's think about what fear is, right? Fear is something that is there to potentially help you, to keep you from getting hurt in some way, right? Or potentially to keep you stuck, but safe in your mind, right? So if we think about what that fear is, a lot of times when you want to understand fear or you want to be able to let go of fear, you have to go into why do I have the fear, right? Why do I have this fear of this thing? So you have to be able to kind of layer by layer have an understanding of like, well, why am I coming into this? Let's just say to go to a Ouija board to have communication. Why am I coming into it with a fear? Is it coming from a movie I saw? Is it coming from a religious perspective? Is it coming from a story of a friend, right? Is it coming from a TikTok? Where is it coming from? Is it actually my own experience that's giving me the fear, or is it like something else or outside of me? Maybe something I just don't understand. So I think that that's like the first thing to kind of have an understanding around, right? When we're talking about like a fearful experience of spirit or like with a Ouija board. And then also, us as mediums, we know that when we're connecting with those on the spirit side, that is all love, right? The spirit side's all love. We know that their communication, when they come through, they're going to be supportive. They're going to give us positive information. Now, what we don't know really is, can a Ouija board be somehow utilized to talk to egregores, right? Talk to made up fear-based ideas, because ideas, thought forms are created through people that could potentially live in the atmosphere, right? Can they psychically attach to an atmosphere that maybe we're unaware of most of the time, but can we sort of call them up, right? Can we somehow, by bringing in a fear-based intention, because everything when it comes to spirit is about intention, everything. So if you're going to go, I'm going to talk to my loved ones or my guides through love, that's my intention, that's what will happen, right? That's the phone line. That's all you need. But if you come to it and say, I want to speak to this really scary whatever, right? Could that potentially come forward? I don't know. Could it? Maybe. Is it a misinterpretation of what is coming forward, right? What are the things that are causing the fear? Is it actually the thing causing the fear, or is it just a misinterpretation of it that causes the fear? And not understanding, like when I had the physical phenomena, that kind of freaking me out a little bit. Knowing now what I know, that's just their ability to communicate physically. Whereas then I was like, oh my God, that's kind of creepy, right? So it depends on where you're coming at from
Or
it
could it be
with,
the
right? So
person
I always
next to
say,
you? Or the
huh?
person next to you that's
Well,
pushing
yeah,
the
that
branch up?
too. Yeah, they could be doing it. Yeah, they could be creating it. So these are the questions you want to kind of have, I think, in your mind or understanding. But I think that if you realize, okay, if I come to this with love and respect for spirit, respect for this communication, respect for this potential to happen, then I'm fine. Like, you know what I mean? Honestly, fine. If I come to this where I'm searching for something evil, I'm searching for like a negative experience, I may draw that to me psychologically, and I may draw that to me in some form of the atmosphere potentially, right? I can't say that it's not a possibility. I just know that my experiences, I don't seek that out. Do you know what I mean? I don't seek that out. And even if you did connect with that, they're not a consciousness. Do you know what I mean? They're like it's like a thought form. So even if you were to pick up on like negativity with a Ouija board, that doesn't mean anything bad's going to happen to you. That's the other thing. If we take it with us psychologically and we start filtering everything that we then experience after the fact through that fear-based place, then we'll start thinking, oh my God, everything's happening to me now because I did that Ouija board thing and I connected to this evil thing. And so now that's why that's happening.
So it's just a psychological domino effect.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Do you think it is possible to do the Ouija board by yourself?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Why?
Because there's too much potential for your mind getting involved and leading the answers. So, I mean, you could try it, but I don't know if there's enough energy for one to use like that. But I just think that there's too much like potential for
Air.
you moving it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Do you agree, Dana?
Yeah, I mean, it does help. You know, I think Megan mentioned something that we haven't really talked about. She, we've alluded to this essentially being part of physical mediumship or physical phenomena that makes a Ouija board work. And that's energy, and that's energy coming from humans that the spirit world uses and utilizes to help move the planchette. Because if you do it correctly, you don't have like a very heavy touch on the planchette. You're
light.
very, very, very light, right? And so, the spirit world is dependent on that energy from the humans to move that around. So if you are just one person, that's a lot of energy and power that you would just be waiting for it to move. So the more the merrier in that regard. Like, why not do it with more people? And there is more discernment. I think, again, to Megan's earlier point, if you do this with the right people and you have this with the right friends and the right people that have the discernment with you, and you're all doing it together, it's the right vibe and it's just going to be better. I mean, I know some people like to play alone by themselves, but why not? Sometimes it's more fun with friends.
Some of us have friends on the other side of the country, Dana.
I know.
True.
I have a question for you guys. I have a bunch of questions. So so like, let's say one of us is on the other side and you're on the other side in this scenario, what would be like one indication you'd want us to know that you were there? Like, what's a phrase, or like, how do you think we would guess it was you?
My name.
Well, I mean, I think a name. Okay.
I think that Megan would spell out O.U.I.J.A. No.
How it'd be me? I can't spell. I can't spell.
I can't spell either.
I think Megan would give us sushi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would give you taco.
Mm-hmm.
Taco Bell.
Oh, I figured out a better way. It was me.
Huh?
I would never text back or answer your questions.
Like, this isn't moving. This isn't working. It must be Matt.
Oh, Matt's here.
It's not.
Hi.
It's not.
Slides to yes or no answers.
Well, the cool thing is like, if you are sensitive to energy and there is an actual spirit coming to communicate, you'll feel them. You know what I mean? Like, you'll feel the energy, you'll feel the shift, you'll feel that happening. And so that is a good, strong indication that there is actual communication coming through. And again, they're going to be intelligent. So they should be able to answer things that you ask, and maybe even things that you don't know that you have to then like find out from another person that does know, right? Someone that does know them, or like Google it if it's someone that, where that applies. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
What we didn't talk about, Matt, is
what?
You and I went to the Ouija board museum in Salem.
I'd like to forget that experience. No, it was cool. It was in Salem, Massachusetts. It's actually pretty dope. They had some of those like the planchettes with the pencils in them. And they would,
the big ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like those are some of the original. So talk about that, because
tell me about
Ouija boards, yes, can be just, a board, but also they can be other things.
Well, and with those, actual handwriting of like the spirit person can come through
Right.
on those, which is a pretty amazing piece of evidence. Obviously, they can actually spell out words easier than going A, B, C, whatever. But actual handwriting can come through on those planchettes, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
It looks like
And
a
then,
spirograph, right? Like kind of thingy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have like tables too. They have like actual full tables where like things can slide and move with
Ooh.
spell out things too. There was all different kinds of inventions to talk to the spirit world back in the Victorian era when, you know, spiritualism exploded. And you know, obviously some are still in use and some are in museums.
Mm-hmm. In Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I like when the guy we walked in and he like has all these like Ouija board movies and all that stuff. Like he has all those DVDs, and then he had like Ouija boards that people sent to him, and he's like, I keep them all here because they're evil. I was like, all right.
Okay.
But he had one that he like framed where he's like, this lady, you know, she bought it and she sent it to me and she's like, it's really, really evil, really, really bad. And I felt nothing. I walked in and I was like, honey, I'm the most evil thing in this room. I didn't feel
There's a
anything.
Stranger Things Ouija board, strangely enough. Like you would think like it was like an old school, like if something was going to really have something haunted or like, you know, evil attached to it, would be like old school, like it'd been around. No, it was like a Stranger Things Ouija board.
Yeah.
What is your favorite? Like, so we did talk about the Ouija board, which I think it's fun. I think it's a hoot when you get.
It can be slow. It can be so slow though.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Very patient.
Yeah, it's fun.
It works.
Yeah, and spirit boxes are lots of fun. But like, what is your favorite? Like, obviously, we're the only tool we need. But like, it's a fun night. It's a Friday night. Your friends are all together. You want to play around with spirit. You want to experiment with spirit. What's your favorite tool?
I mean, Ouija board, I have had people over and we've done it and it worked really well in that group. That can be fun. Table tipping can be fun. Here's the thing, like there's never forcing anything when it comes to spirit. You can't force like phenomena to happen or communication to happen. And sometimes you just sit there and nothing happens, and that you have to be okay with that. So, but if something were to happen, like Ouija board can be fun for communication. I mean, spirit boxes can be really cool when they're actually like legitimately communicating. I've had some really good, you know, kinds of experiences with that. I don't know. It's really hard because I think at this point, my mediumship, I think that it's so much easier just to do mediumship, you know, instead of having an outside tool. But I'm always down to experiment with spirit. Like there's a lady that has an iPad that she uses. Ooh. That the spirits come through somehow. Her name's Renata something. She's in South America, but they somehow are making an impression on the screen with their faces, which is really, really cool. Or at least that's what's being reported and shown. So I always say be open to like experimentation if you're someone that's well versed in this and you're not fear-based and you're understanding that the spirit world isn't necessarily 100% going to come through, then like it's all good. So I'm down for whatever. If you guys were like, yeah, let's do the Ouija board, I'd be like, all right.
Let's go. You know what I would do? What my favorite tool is? Megan laying down, us having our hands on her and going, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, so she can float.
That'd be fun. We should try that.
Yeah,
we could try it. What is your favorite though?
What is my actual favorite? I like table tipping.
Me too.
I really like that.
Yeah, I like table tipping. The only thing I don't like about table tipping is my back hurts really bad when I sit there because you have to be far away from the table. And so that's because I like to sing, right? I love to sing. I love to hang out with the spirit world. And I love to see if there's potential phenomena that can come through. And so for anyone that doesn't know what table tipping is, I think we have to at least tell them that.
So where you drive up, you get out of the car and you push a table over and you run back to the vehicle.
I was going to make a cow tipping joke too.
Yeah.
So what is cow tipping?
Yeah.
What is table tipping?
What is cow tipping? I don't even know. I'm from California. So table tipping is basically using a table like you would use a Ouija board. So what you can do, or what the spirit world can do in the right conditions with the right energy, is they can move the table around, yes, but they can also tap out messages. So you can go through the alphabet and be like A, B, C, and then it will like stop on the letter, and then they can communicate through that. So it's essentially like a table Ouija, sort of.
You know that it's funny that the two people from Colorado knew exactly, like our brains went exactly to cow tipping.
I went there too. Did you not hear me about?
Did you ever tip a cow?
God, I hope not. Why would you do that?
Because they sleep standing up, and it's just a Colorado pastime. It's called Rocky Mountain Playground.
That's terrible. That's mean.
I've never done that. Actually, honestly,
no, neither have I.
I know people that have, and they're dead to me.
We don't talk to here. Wait, let me talk to him really quick.
Oh, there's your little Ouija. There's your Ouija.
Show him your little Ouija.
Yeah. So, I can't just have a normal Ouija.
It's cute.
It's very cute.
I love Go for it. Huh?
I was going to say, there's also all different kinds of boards. Like I have a psychic circle board, right? There's all different kinds, and that utilize like different kinds of communication, like different images, different layouts. And like there's a ton of different ones. So not just a Ouija.
Oh, I love that.
Don't limit the limitless.
Did you ever do like that thing where it's like, will Bobby ever love me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course I did.
I wonder if you can make a spirit communication version of that.
I mean, 8 balls. Isn't that pretty much the same
Magic
thing?
8 balls?
Yeah.
You know what somebody did one time? They took pencils and they used them like dowsing rods, but like 2 people would hold the pencil like this. Oh, hold on, let me not mute myself. They'd hold the pencil like this, and then they would have 2 more, and it would go in and out like dowsing rods.
Yeah, I mean, originally dowsing rods were made out of just like sticks, so to find water, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you could use anything really if you're gonna use something as a divination device. Anything can be used. You can use a coin. You could use a magic 8 ball. You can use anything.
Your necklace. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how I learned, actually, was like with a ring on a chain using a pendulum. And I always do it over my wrist because that's how my grandma taught me to do it. Just through like, I don't know if it's through the energy center here or what it is, but I always do it like just over my wrist. I feel like for some reason that
the pendulum?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a cool way to do it.
I wonder if I can make like a pendulum for myself. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take totally hair Barbie. Just by her hair.
I mean,
is Megan fabulous?
Anything can be a pendulum if you want it bad enough.
Yeah, exactly. Angel numbers.
Angel numbers.
What?
Anything's an angel number if you want it bad enough. That's my motto.
Yeah,
it's true.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to spell goodbye.
Okay, here, hold on.
Oh, but wait. Let's talk about that really quick. Like, okay, so there's a rule that if you are done with your communication, you have to put it on goodbye, and that's just not true. Mm-mm. You just taking your attention away from it, your energy away from it, severs the connection. So if you ever are on a Ouija board and you don't put goodbye, don't freak out. Don't think that means the session's still open. It isn't. As soon as your attention's away from it, it ends.
Mm-hmm. It's not like spiritual hold. They don't have music that's like
no, they're not, and they don't step into our world. Like you're not creating a portal that they can come through just because you're communicating through a piece of cardboard with the spirit world. You don't even need that object to communicate with the spirit world. The spirits are always around us, for one. Communication only, again, takes your attention and your intention to do, and that's how that works. So we're just seeing it in a physical manifestation through a Ouija board, but it's just a normal, natural thing that happens, and you don't need to be worried about it. So, yeah.
Dana, are you going to do the thing? The thing that you do with the planchette to see them?
Like this?
Yeah, apparently you're not supposed to do that either.
Oh.
For what? For what reason?
Because you'll see them.
I wish. I'm going to just start carrying them around in my eyes all the time.
I'm going to get glasses like this.
Yeah.
Megan's glass game is really strong. Like her eyewear is really strong. You should get planchettes made like that.
That would be creepy.
There's too many
like Miss
damn
Frizzle.
rules. There's too many damn
Oh, I know. Yeah.
rules, and like there's like all of these stories of like,
I
oh my
know.
god, and then this happened, and then did you hear about this? Just yeah, it's not. It's all untrue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the man trying to control us. It's true. Think about it. If you realized who you really were, if you all out in the audience knew that you're a spirit right now, like really knew it, and you knew that you could communicate with the spirit world at any moment, at any time, and that's your God-given right, because you as a spirit can do that. If you lived your life like that and really knew that, the world would be a very vastly different place.
100%.
So
The man tries to control us.
don't let the man get you down. With that, we'll see you next week.
Fuck him.
Bye, everybody. Nail check.
Nail check.
Bye, guys.
Nail check.
Bye. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Super Normal. We will see you again next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification.